A quiet transformation begins when an individual no longer identifies with their former self. This isn't a grand revelation or a dramatic event. Its loss is a subtle shift in perception, a soft break from the mold you've been forced into, the mask you've worn for too long. This is the moment when ego transcendence begins. You've built a self from survival mechanisms and social conditioning, a carefully sculpted facade made from the rubble of your past. But now, one quiet breath at a time, it starts to dissolve, not out of resistance, but through acceptance. You see, Carl Jung knew this truth. Individuation is the journey of integrating the unconscious into conscious awareness. No more hiding, no more shadows lurking in the corners of your mind. When you begin this journey, everything shifts. You stop chasing validation in the eyes of others, no longer tethered to the pain of your past. Emotional triggers lose their grip not because you suppress them, but because you learn to observe them without attachment. Those once dominant memories transform from wounds into neutral markers of experience. You no longer narrate your life from a place of hurt. Now, you tell your stories from the vantage point of awareness. Yet this is not without a reckoning. You see the relationships that cling to you, rooted in dependency, validation, and survival. You recognize this toxic dance, the performance of approval. Those connections, once warm with acceptance, begin to feel suffocating. Boundaries arise, not from fear, but a newfound self-respect. The clarity you cultivate becomes a silent proclamation, a fierce determination to guard your essence. Silence that once avoided void becomes your ally. Within its depths, you find peace. You unearth the unconscious scripts that governed your reactions for too long. You learn not to react, but to respond. No longer a marionette dancing on the strings of chaos outside you. You reclaim your locus of control, shifting your gaze inward. Emotional independence blooms, where your presence flows from authenticity instead of performance. In this raw transformation, you encounter a paradox. You are no longer seeking completion in others, but sharing your wholeness. It's a delicate dance, not a desperate grasping. The metamorphosis is internal, felt in the subtleties of thought, action, and energy. You honor the old self, a phase necessary for your evolution. Yet, its influence wanes as deeper awareness takes root. Let us descend into the first spiral. The first spiral reveals the comforting illusion that says being perpetually available, being the one who says yes, will lead to connection and validation. Picture this. You find yourself at a gathering. A friend asks for a favor that tugs at your heart but pulls you from your truth. You say yes, not because it serves you, but from the gnawing fear of rejection, the urgent need for approval. You think you're building bonds, weaving connection, but in reality, you're stifling your spirit to become a shadow of yourself. Then, harsh clarity strikes. What if saying no was the real declaration of your worth? What if true connection ignited when you respected the boundaries of your soul? The moment you honor your voice, you slice through the illusion. It's not about abandoning others. It's about recognizing that true intimacy arises when you can stand in your truth without fear of the fallout. You step back, and what you find is not abandonment, but liberation. Now, let's spiral deeper. The second descent exposes the psychological cost of abandoning your boundaries in pursuit of emotional security. You cling to the fragile illusion of safety in relationships, believing it protects your heart. But this very safety is a thief, stealing your essence as you morph into a caricature of who you think others want you to be. Jung warned that individuation requires confronting every hidden corner of our psyche. When we sacrifice ourselves for the sake of connection, we lose our power. Your heart is not a vessel to fill, but a universe brimming with stars. The pain of self-abandonment becomes unavoidable. You realize that the cost of staying small, of losing yourself in the service of others, is too great. The numbness that once comforted you shadows your true light. Now, we dive into the darkest corner, the illusion that by maintaining your availability, you can control how others perceive you. You've woven your self-worth into their perceptions, believing that this performance can shield you from rejection. But as you lose yourself in the act, you realize this illusion only strengthens the chains that bind you. The truth? True power emerges from setting internal boundaries, not from the external applause of others. It's a revelation that shakes you to the core. You've craved validation so desperately that it clouded your vision. Freedom isn't found in their acceptance, but in your acceptance of self. When you unmask the truth, external chaos becomes a whisper. Your inner calm prevails. Now, let's speak of ritual, a sacred act of setting boundaries that slices through the old ties binding you to the past. It's the moment of standing tall in your truth, of severing the cords that drained your lifeblood. You don't need more healing. You need to stop lying about who you are. This is the moment you reclaim your narrative. You learn to say no without guilt, to express desires without shame. Imagine the quiet power of standing alone, feeling the ground beneath your feet. The silence wraps around you like a warm cloak. It's the comfort of knowing you no longer need to perform for anyone. You breathe deeply, feeling every ounce of weight lift as you cut the ties. It is a ritual of liberation, a sacred dance where you take back your ownership. You never lost control. You willingly gave it away. You were never free. You just never set boundaries. And in the midst of this chaos, there are moments of stillness, flashes where clarity pierces through the fog. The first time you say no, and feel the weight of relief flood through your body. A deep breath after cutting the emotional cord. Solid, grounding. The quiet of a morning, alone with your peace, listening to the whispers of your soul. Can you feel it? This is the essence of your truth. Don't keep this. Pass it to the person still handing away their power, to everyone but themselves. Let them awaken from the slumber of illusion. This isn't a lesson. It's a confrontation. This is the beginning of your quiet transformation, the unraveling of the false self. Stand tall in the shadows of your truth and know. The journey home to your essence begins here. As you stand at the threshold of this awakening, you may feel the weight of the world pressing down on you. This is the shattering moment when the illusions begin to crack and the light of your true self starts to seep through the fissures. Your old self, the one defined by wounds and the need for approval, feels heavy, suffocating. You've lived under its shadow for too long, but now there's a flicker of something else. Hope, perhaps. Or maybe it's the fear of stepping into the unknown. You must confront the deepest truth of your existence. You've been living in a cage of your own making, forged by others' expectations and your desperate desire to please. Over and over, you've molded yourself to fit into the limited roles assigned by society, family, and the relationships that drain you. You've compromised your essence, thinking it was the only way to survive in a world that seemed to demand your sacrifice. But this is not survival. It's a slow death. When you realize this, a fire ignites within you. It's the yearning to reclaim your voice, to break free from the chains. This is where the real transformation begins. You start asking yourself the questions you've avoided for too long. Who am I outside the narratives I've been told? What parts of myself have I abandoned in favor of acceptance? As you peel back these layers, you discover the root of your emotional overavailability, the fear of rejection, the desire for validation. Each discovery cuts deeper than the last, unraveling the illusions you've clung to as lifelines. Yet this unraveling is not destruction. It's plus a rebirth. You begin to see that your emotional triggers are not enemies but teachers, revealing to you the core wounds that have dictated your reactions. A life lived in survival mode cannot be ignored. You cannot simply erase the past. You must integrate it. The journey of individuation demands that you pull the shadows into the light. Jung taught that the darkness must be faced to find the light. This is where the real courage lies, not in fighting against the darkness, but in embracing it, understanding how it has shaped you and learning to let it go. You feel the weight of your past lessen as you acknowledge it, not as a shameful burden, but as a part of your story. The mind whispers lies. You can't let them see you like this. They'll think you're weak. But here's the truth. Vulnerability is not weakness. It's a radical act of strength. The bravest stance you can take in a world addicted to performance. In allowing yourself to be seen, you step into your power. You become untouchable. The illusion of control over others' perceptions crumbles, revealing the freedom found in authenticity. You begin to set boundaries that protect rather than isolate. These boundaries are not walls. They are sacred agreements with yourself. They are declarations of self-worth, statements that say, I am worthy of respect, of love, of space to breathe. You learn to say no without guilt, to take up space without fear. This is the essence of individuation, reclaiming your right to exist fully without apology. In this process, you encounter resistance. It may come from friends, family, or partners who are accustomed to the old you, the one who bent and contorted. To fit into their expectations, they may push back, attempt to reel you back into the familiar patterns of pleasing. But here's where you stand firm. Their discomfort isn't your burden to bear. It's a testament to your growth. You no longer seek their approval. Your peace is no longer negotiable. The silence that once felt so daunting now cradles you in its embrace. In this stillness, you cultivate clarity. The narratives you've woven around yourself begin to unravel, and you learn to listen, truly listen, to your inner voice, the one that has been drowned out by the chaos of the outside world. You find solace in those moments of reflection, realizing that your truth lies beneath the noise, waiting for you to uncover it. As you deepen this practice, the world around you begins to shift. No longer do you engage in the performative dance for approval. Relationships transform as the energy you bring transforms. You no longer connect from a place of lack, but from fullness. It's a subtle shift, but one that ripples out, impacting every interaction. You begin to draw in relationships that resonate with your new vibration. Connections rooted in mutual respect and authenticity. You recognize those who cannot align with your growth. It's painful to leave behind the comfort of familiarity, even when it no longer serves you. But with every goodbye, you make space for what is meant for you. You're not casting away people. You're creating room for connections that reflect the truth of who you are becoming. You feel the stirrings of emotional independence. This independence is not detachment, but a profound knowing that your worth is innate, not contingent upon the perceptions or actions of others. You allow yourself to exist in the fullness of your being. You become present, authentic, and real. This journey is not linear. It's a spiral. You'll find yourself revisiting old wounds, but with each pass, you gain deeper insight. You realize the old self is not an enemy, but a wise teacher, reminding you of the lessons learned. With every confrontation of your shadows, you extend compassion not just to yourself, but to those around you. You see their struggles, their projections, and the costumes they wear to navigate a world that rewards performance over authenticity. Time itself begins to shift in your perception. No longer do you feel the pressure of performance, the ticking clock demanding you to conform. Instead, time reveals its rhythm, flowing in harmony with your soul's alignment. You begin to understand that your journey is not bound by arbitrary timelines. The essence of who you truly are begins to emerge, raw, untamed, unapologetic. This is your personal renaissance, a reclaiming of your life. The chaos of the past no longer defines your future. Instead, you rise from the ashes of self-betrayal and denial, emerging as a force of nature, fierce and resilient. And when you reach this place of authenticity, the world shifts around you. You no longer attract what you don't want. You draw in the connections that resonate with your truth. A partner who understands the journey you've taken. Friends who celebrate your boundaries and respect your individuality. The energy you create is magnetic, each interaction a reaffirmation of your commitment to your own evolution. You find freedom in knowing you don't need anyone to complete you. You are whole as you are, and you share your completeness with those who are meant to walk alongside you. The transformation is not outwardly dramatic. It is felt in the subtleties of thought, action, and energy. You honor the old self, recognizing it as a necessary phase, but its influence now wanes as deeper awareness takes root. This is not a destination, but a continuous journey. As you embrace the intricacies of your truths, you align with Jung's assertion that true enlightenment comes from making the darkness conscious. No longer do you shy away from your shadows. You bring them to light, integrating them into a tapestry of wholeness. The wounds become stories of resilience, lessons learned rather than burdens to carry. And as you navigate this landscape of your soul, the rhythm of life becomes a dance, each step an expression of your true self. You find peace in knowing that the goal was never to become someone else, but to return to the essence of who you truly are. This is your awakening. Stand in your truth, embrace your journey, and let the world see you as you are meant to be seen. You are not just a participant in this life. You are the author, the creator. The pages are blank, waiting for your unique narrative. Write it boldly, unapologetically, fiercely. In the end, it's not about how others perceive you, it's about how you perceive yourself. And in this shift lies the heart of your transformation, a quiet revolution that begins not with a roar, but with a whisper of truth. Embrace it, live it, share it. Your journey has just begun.